All right, let me interrupt this podcast right now. Obviously, we recorded that yesterday when Mourinho was still the coach of Roma. Today, we woke up, he is no longer the coach. I cannot believe it. I actually checked my phone in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, and I saw Mourinho is not the coach, and I thought it was fake. I thought I was still dreaming. We tried to get all the boys together. It snowed like crazy in New York, so we couldn't get everybody. We thought about re-recording the entire podcast, but we figured let me just jump on here, give the latest news, give a couple of my thoughts, and then we'll reconvene with my dad, with Peter, with Anto, and with Mike and give full explanation of what we think. I'm stuck between two places right now because I'm biased. I love Jose Mourinho. I experienced it firsthand in Rome in his first year. I went to the derby, and I felt an enthusiasm that I've never felt before. I heard all of the fans scream his name, the coach's name, louder than any of the players. And the way that he connected the fan base to the team was something that I really loved. On the opposite end, from the Freakins, from the ownership, I kind of do understand because their results have not been good. They sit 9th place. They have 1 win in their last 6 matches, all competitions. Their away record is awful. They sit 14th in the away table. And they have the 3rd largest wage bill in Serie A currently. So I understand from that end, and they're thinking to save the season by bringing Daniele De Rossi in. I'll hit that in a little bit. But me, personally, Marco, the fan, I don't like the idea of sacking him within the season. They still had more to play for in Europa League to try to qualify for Champions League. I can understand why people are not happy with this and they won't agree with this take, but this is the way that I feel. I think that the team was poorly built, and if we look at a deeper level, we've mentioned it on the podcast like a million times, the marriage between Roma and Mourinho never really made sense because he's the type of manager that I think he needed more time, more resources to put into this squad, considering all the FFP problems. And look at the way that they had to build on the transfer market. It's been finding players that are injury prone and throwing them into the squad and waiting for last minute opportunities like Romelu Lukaku. So there's bigger problems at display, but I'll never forget everything he brought to this team, the way that he had the fans on his side, the way that he brought a trophy for the first time in 14 years to Roma and getting them to back-to-back European finals. And I say it in this podcast, and you'll hear it a little bit later, but I continually go back to that moment in Budapest, and I wish things could have been different. I really do. I wish they could have won that trophy and qualified for Champions League, and the narrative could have been different and everything could have changed. So it's unfortunate. I'm excited. If I transition, I'm excited for De Rossi. I think it's an extremely smart move from the ownership. Very thoughtful to bring in Daniele De Rossi because you regain the enthusiasm of the fans. It's not easy to go from a character to Mourinho to another coach. De Rossi's probably the only person that could have done that. He's Roma born and bred. He said that if he wasn't a player, he would have been with a beer and a panino in the curva watching the games and traveling with the fans all life long if he wasn't a player. So I get this move. He had stints at Spal. I spoke to Giuseppe Rossi, who played under him. He said he's a player manager. He said he will get the players on his side, which I think is a really good thing. He's going to want to play a more progressive style of football, ball possession, but it's hard to implement that right away. And I think it makes sense that at the end of this 6 months with De Rossi, we'll reevaluate and see who they go for. Obviously, the dream from some of the fans is Antonio Conte, but I think Roma have to have a real conversation around what is the project. Do you go for another big name, but then can't really get signings? Or do you go for a younger coach, get a proper sporting director, and try to build out long-term what makes more sense? That's a conversation that'll need to be had. That's a conversation that we'll debate on our podcast. I know I was a little bit all over the place. There's a lot of news, a lot of different thoughts. Like I said, we're going to all take this in. We're going to make a new podcast just about Mourinho, Roma, De Rossi, and what the future lies with the rest of the boys. But enjoy the rest of the podcast. Enjoy the rest of the thoughts. As always, thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, we on, Mike? We on?
We're on.
Mike, you look all messed up. What happened to you, Mike?
Messed up? How so?
You were supposed to be making a statement. Make a statement, Mike. All right.
Oh, yeah, the statement is, Antonio, you beat me in football on the one-on-one. Close game, but the deal was I was supposed to say, you're the best player, and Forza Milan.
There you go.
Wow.
I like that, Mike. You know what? Coming from you, I was not expecting. I mean, I'm not knowing what a liar you are,
Respect
but
to
this
Mike.
time respect.
I'm the
Respect.
liar. We didn't do it.
No, respect. And that you should have something else
He
that you
definitely
forgot.
added another score in the football for sure. You always add a point when I'm
I
not
watched them.
looking.
I watched them.
No, but add something else. Somebody bet on the game. Somebody bet on the game. Who bet on
So
the game?
guys,
Our producer.
Our producer bet on the game. Betting on what? What did he bet on?
He said he's gonna take us out for Mexican food for one day.
For context, you guys know we're very, very competitive in general,
little too
but we have a
much.
foosball table that's ruined our lives in the past couple of years. And there was a mano-a-mano game between Antonio and Mike. Most of the time, Mike wins. Antonio was feeling good today, and there was
was
other
lucky.
people bet, and they bet against Mike.
No, they bet against me.
They bet against you, sorry.
But they lost the bet.
They lost the bet, so we're all going to get free food. Thanks to Enrico Bocco di Fuoco,
Yeah.
and Mike had to say Forza Milan.
Such a nice guy, Ray. I didn't know they were that nice.
Can I bring my cousins? Enrico?
Yeah, invite everyone. Yo, for real, Mike is the GOAT because look, he's helping us out.
see?
We all got a free meal.
I took the loss for you guys.
Thank you, Mike.
Mike, respect.
Thank you. Respect, Mike.
We're getting steak, Anton.
Okay.
Yo, it was a good weekend for you all around.
It was.
It was a very good weekend
It
for
was.
you. Milan
Yeah.
getting the result. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Napoli getting back to their winning ways. Inter doing what Inter do. The Supercoppa Italiana as well. We're still without Peter. He's still stuck on his honeymoon.
Wow, what a lucky son of a gun.
He's on a ball and
he
chain,
is.
paisa. Ball and chain.
Ball and chain? What does that mean, ball
He's
and
like
chain?
stuck by the ankle.
Oh,
You never heard that before?
Oh, no.
Because he's married now.
No.
You understand?
No, in Italian, we don't say that way.
What do you say?
We say la catena. C'ha la
Okay,
catena.
you're in a jail.
No, you change somewhere.
Same thing.
But not in
Anton.
jail,
It's the same
not
thing.
necessarily.
Okay, it's changed, whatever.
But it's a good jail. I mean, he's gonna.
For him, it's not bad. And my dad
he's
is
got a
in.
luxury jails actually.
And my dad is in Florida.
Yeah, playing with.
He's a champion.
He played a tournament, and
But,
every time he goes to these
What
tournaments, you
was
guys
the age
know.
group, by the way?
I don't
over,
know.
Over 90.
You weren't invited,
They always
Anton.
go to the final, and they always lose. And I was actually surprised, and we sent them the message, congratulations, they won.
See, it
when
was
I-
like today. You usually lose today and you won.
Yeah, when I
Today's,
saw the picture,
just
those
a
guys.
bad day.
Underdogs.
When I saw the picture, those guys that look kind of scary. They look like way overdone.
Hey, at least they're still playing.
Overdone.
God
What are they, a
bless.
Yo.
steak?
Yeah, if I get to that age and I'm still playing, I'll be happy. Let's get into the games. Milan and Roma. So I was looking up in the last 8 games, Milan have earned 19 points. The only team to do better, Inter and Juventus. So there's been a lot of talk about a crisis. Pioli's been on the hot seat. Rumors of Abate, always floating around the other big names like Antonio Conte. But if you look at it, Coppa Italia side, which was an objective, and Champions League, it hasn't been as bad considering some of the injuries and the youngsters that they've had to get in. You got a pretty dominating performance against Roma, where at 2-0, for some reason, Calabria loves to open up the game and get Roma back into it. But nonetheless, it's been pretty good.
You know what? I always see the glass half full. First of all, the Coppa Italia game was taken away from us. There was a clean penalty. We know that Di Bello loves us so much. I know that you don't like me to criticize him, but I have to.
I don't care about him.
Okay, the fact
We have refereeing
the fact of
mistakes
the matter
in every
is,
level.
The Verona, I kind of 100% agree with the Verona president. That he
Salernitana.
Salernitana? Yeah.
Salernitana.
That he came so much against what those guys are doing.
For those that don't know, he asked for Rocchi, who is
which
the
is
head
the
of
designated. Yeah.
he's
The
the head of
referee
all
committee.
refereeing.
Yeah.
He said he needs to resign, and he also said he's threatening to leave Serie A, Salernitana,
100% agree with him.
To be fair, they have been penalized in a lot of occasions, and I think we said it last week that a lot of the times the big teams, when there's a mistake against a big dog, it's talked about a million times. When it's for Salernitana, it's not going to be our discussion at this table. It's not going to be on the front page of Gazzetta or Corriere, unfortunately. So I do understand their frustrations.
But Marco, I was scrolling through the Gazzetta the last couple of days, and I saw actually the VAR back and forth during Inter Verona Inter, whatever the game, and then the guy said, fermalo. The guy never stopped, and then Inter wound up scoring with Frattesi. This is ridiculous. I mean, at some point, we're going to have to stop this, okay?
Training of the referees is poor.
Rocky's like a rookie. His name should be Rookie, not Rocky.
What does that take you to think of?
And then,
You're so cheesy sometimes.
That's pretty good.
He comes out with a stupid excuse. Rookie, yeah, Rocky Balboa, Rookie. He's a rookie to me. Yeah. So he comes out with a stupid excuse saying, "Oh, the VAR has only been around for 6 years." How many more freaking years do you need? 100 years to get it right?
But it's not the VAR's fault. It's not the technology's fault.
It's the
the
people
people
in
that are
charge.
implementing the VAR. It's the refereeing.
It's both.
No, it's
No,
not.
how's it the technology? It's
The
right there
VAR,
on the
the
screen.
VAR is just the technology. It's not the VAR's
So
problem.
then get rid of the people. Just wipe them all out. Just we don't
Like
need those.
dinosaurs.
We don't need those. Get somebody else from outside. Those are I don't trust them. When you lose the trust of the people implementing the system, then the system is not working.
I do agree. I think that there's times that we've exaggerated and we've gone too far. But I think that if you look at the mistakes that are happening,
No, that cost us the Coppa Italia. We could have been in the Coppa Italia.
you know what's even more scary? We've had audio come out of you just mentioned it. Not just there, we've also had audio from English referees, and you hear sort of not to doggy pile on all of these referees, but you hear some of what they say, and they don't want to get their friend in trouble. They don't want to call it back to do this. There's a sense of arrogance from a lot of referees to not always want to implement it, to call things in a different way. It's a larger discussion. But anyway, I don't want to get into that because it's too much. I asked you a question about Milan, and things are not as bad as it looks. Do you agree or do you not agree?
Well, to me, this is not the test. Roma was not the test. Okay, the fact that we got 18 points in 8 games or 7
19
games.
and 8 in the last 8.
So it's not a good test because the teams, we lost against Atalanta. I mean, even though it's Coppa Italia, well, it should have been a loss. Roma, to me, is not a great test.
Atalanta played great
Okay,
against
go on.
you guys.
Roma, it's not a great test.
Okay,
It's
but
not-
overall, my question is overall.
Overall, when you are AC Milan, you should expect more. Okay, we are AC Milan. It's like we are the Yankees in America. The Yankees, short of the winning of a championship, you fail.
Can't wait for the comments on this one.
Okay, we are AC
At least
Milan.
Yankees are partners with
We
Milan.
are AC Milan. Good enough or good from far or far from good doesn't work. We need to be on the money all the time. You see this jersey over here? This jersey means a lot.
Your wallet and keys all gonna fall out at the same time.
AC Milan, it's about who we are. We are the people. We are behind this thing here. All of this merchandise has been put together. Mike, you remember this?
I was about to get this idea.
Mike took my wallet. Anyway, we are attached to the shirts more than what anybody thinks of here on this podcast.
No, I get it. But
He's
not
avoiding the question.
not every team always has incredible years, right? There's sometimes that there's a dip. My question is more is the exaggeration. Mike, since he keeps deflecting, he's talking about referees, he's talking about Yankees, he's talking about everything else. What do you make of that? And let me add on top of it, focus maybe more on this. Is it too crazy to say that Milan are completely out of contention to push for top 2?
Well, I think Milan really got their act together the past few match days for sure. They do look more of a team, but sometimes they do look a little lost. It's those random games where I feel like they're playing good, and then they have that random game, that random performance.
Called
Like,
Calabria.
it could be a lot of things. Because again, the Coppa Italia, say what you want against what happened, but Milan's performance was horrible. Say what you want about the referee's decision. Atalanta 100% deserved to go through regardless of what happened. They just looked all over the place, Milan. They didn't know how to defend. They didn't know how to attack. They just looked bad. But, they have, like I said, they look good, but they're still susceptible to those random hiccups of the games. And it happens a little too often.
So you don't believe in it?
Not I don't believe in it, but for the greater scheme of things, they're doing pretty solid. They're plugging in a lot of the players that they have injuries. We got to consider that also, Maybe you can say they're not playing the best in that sense, but they have a lot of players out injured. They lost a few guys now to AFCON. There's a lot of stuff that's been going on behind the scenes.
It's allowed a guy like Adli to step up.
But that's what I'm saying. They plug in a person like that. Adli came in. He controlled the game. He was involved. We can probably say he was the MVP of that game. He was great.
Do you guys start him over Musa next games going forward?
I would,
because it was
I would.
Adli Musa.
No, I would for sure. You gotta give confidence to the person that performed, right? Meritocracy.
And he was almost out. Like, he was gone. Pioli told him, you were out of my plan. So credit to him. It's got to be so tough to stay headstrong when you have a coach that, and Pioli's not the type that he just puts one player on the side for no reason. He said it's a technical choice. He wasn't there. So credit to Adli for staying strong, because I thought he looked phenomenal. Another guy, not in this game, I didn't think he was great, but just Christian Pulisic has been amazing. And we had this debate on who's been the best player so far in this first half of the season. You could say Tomori, I think maybe is the other shot, but for me, it would be Christian Pulisic. The amount of games he's been involved in has been phenomenal, especially in a new environment. He didn't come from a good moment at Chelsea where he was not feeling good. He's got confidence. He stayed healthy, which is probably the most important thing. But even on the right side, which is not his natural position, for me, he stepped up as a leader of this squad where Rafael Leao, number-wise, has not been up to par. So that's one good thing. Let's transition to Roma. there's a big conversation going on, and probably for the first time in the last 3 years, I've seen Roma fans who have stood by Mourinho through everything, through no matter what, even through Anthony Taylor, through this, through that, have said that they're starting to feel like it is time for Mourinho and Roma to separate. After this loss, they're coming off of 3 difficult matches, right? We knew this, we talked about it. There's also rumors that the Friedkins, at the end of the year, might not keep him. Roma have no direttore sportivo. Thiago Pinto is gone. He did an awful job. The Friedkins, with the new tax law that's come into place, might not even be able to afford him. Guys, where does Roma go from here?
I feel like I've been being so negative on Roma all season, but I'm honestly, the words that come out of my mouth for Roma, it's just, I love Mourinho. I love him as a character. I love what he done. I love historically all the stuff he won. He's a great character to have in Serie A. But whenever I see Roma and the way I've been seeing in the past few years, it's good that he's implementing youth, trying new things. I like that stuff. But I just don't see what the future project that Mourinho's trying to build. Maybe just me. Maybe I don't see the project, but I just don't see what Mourinho's trying to build. To me, it looks like bad performances, whatever. He can get results, but the performances, they don't look good. They don't look good enough for a team like Roma to keep this up. You can say, yes, injuries. Everyone's dealing with injuries. Everyone has all these setbacks. We're just talking about Milan. But I don't know. Maybe I'm being negative or whatever. I really wanted to fall in love with this Roma Mourinho project, but I really don't see what's going to come out of this.
I feel like it's such a big issue, this Roma, and we talked about it weeks ago, where there's no clear direction, and it was always a marriage that kind of doesn't make sense, right? Because Roma went through an awful financial situation when what happened with Monchi and the amount of players that were signed, and Thiago Pinto was not the guy to come in. You need a rock star direttore sportivo, sporting director, a guy that comes with a plan. Look at what Giuntoli has done already at Juventus, just being a presence, understanding which players to buy, how to build a team. And when you get Jose Mourinho, the expectation is he's going to win with big players. You're going to be able to spend in the market. And yes, maybe they've spent in salary-wise because they've had to. But if you look at the reality, with FFP, it's limited them so much that it's taken years to get back to a point to spend money, and they're still not there. They have to resort to getting guys that are injury-prone. Renato Sanchez, Dybala,
or free
Lukaku,
agents.
Opportunities, which it never lets you build. So my question is just big picture. We can't just focus on a result, on losing to Milan, on being ninth in the table. I think Mourinho's done a lot of great stuff, and I'm completely biased. I love the guy. I think he's brought enthusiasm to the team. The stadium's completely sold out for most of the games, which matters. It's an aspect that matters. Last year, I agreed with his decision to go all in on Europa League. I love that he's a coach that wants to win in Europe, and we will have to judge it at the end of the year because they could still go all the way in the Europa League. But at the moment, I do agree with you that the performances are not good enough.
Listen, just real quick, you can play that bad football, but you got to get the results. Look at Allegri. If you play like Allegri but get the results, everyone will keep their mouth shut, as we've seen this season with Juventus.
That's right, Mike. But Mourinho is like a double-edged sword. It's good what you just said. Both of you, his character, his drive, and all of that stuff is the enthusiasm that they bring to the fan and the stadium, and all of the build up to the campionato before and during the campionato. But then he makes it a lot about himself too, because how the hell you find yourself so many times watching the game from the stand?
Yeah, he keeps getting sent off. I think it's 7 times this season.
A good coach. What I'm not saying that you should not act the way he does, but I think he overdoes. I guess so many times he's asking for. Yeah. So on the other hand, Pioli, that I wanted to be a lot more aggressive, it's like a ghost on the other side over there. So AC Milan and Roma, they are suffering for, to my personal opinion, just they live and die by how well they do in those 2-3 superstars that they have on the team. We have Giroud, Teo Hernandez, and Leao. Okay, Roma, they have Dybala, that is injured. They have what's his name, Lukaku, and they have from time to time Pellegrini. That when he's playing well, he does.
What a frustrating player he is.
So You know, I had a I still believe that Pellegrini is one of the top midfielders that we have in Serie A. Believe me, man.
I want to believe it, but he only had that one very good season. He hasn't showed anything outside.
Yeah, when he got nutmegged by Pulisic, we just watched the highlights again, and he's walking back like you're a kid from Rome. Like this is your team.
That was the only highlight I didn't want to see about him. But other than that,
the only thing is also with the way that they play, right? They keep playing with wing backs. Wing backs, when you play a 3-man backline, is the most important position. They got guys that are not good, that can't cross the ball. Spinazzola hasn't crossed the ball since the Euro 2020.
Group stage.
Awful. Christensen, I don't know where they found this guy at Leeds, right? Not a good player.
He's a big guy, solid, very intimidating, but at the end of the day, it's just you can go through like butter.
They also have such a poor team. They're so poorly built is what I keep resorting to. A lot of their moves don't make sense. So I don't want to only pin it down on Mourinho, but I also don't want to give this excuse and giving him a pass because I do think that he's done some really valuable things for the team. So it's hard to say, but my overall picture is you need to have a serious conversation on what the project of Roma is. If we can't spend money, then it might be better to get a coach who could get the most out of his players, who punches a bunch above their weight. For example, Italiano at Fiorentina. Fiorentina is not a team that should be fighting for 4th place Champions League and be in all these competitions. With the injuries that they have, they're still getting there. So it's like a moment of reflection on where are we going as a project.
I think Roma just had the opportunity. Maybe it didn't make sense logically, but when you have a chance to get someone like Mourinho, you kind of have to just bite the bullet and be like, we just have to get this name, because who knows when a caliber of this size would ever come. And I get that part, but now you got to look realistically. You got to see all the money you're missing out on, all the results you're not getting when you're supposed to, and just performance-wise.
They need to sort themselves out as a club.
And I think
as a club, there needs to be a serious conversation on what the future is, on both on ownership, because there's rumors that they could sell, and on the FFP problems, and you know, take a realistic step, because we keep saying for a top 4, but when you're not really investing in a squad, and I'm seeing other teams, I use an outlier like Fiorentina that's going above their weight, but if you look, there's 4 squads that are above Roma's at the moment, and he got them to 2 European finals in a row. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but you hear a guy like Francesco Totti say, I never went to 2 European finals. That's amazing. Yeah. That is also the reality of where Roma are.
You know, grinding to me, it's the word that I will just put it on Mourinho. You know, Mourinho, I'm sure he's saying to the guys, stick in there, just hold on, just keep fighting, because at some point things they're gonna get better. It's just grinding this very bad timing out of their shirts or their skin or their field, because at some point, let's say Abraham comes back. I keep saying this. I think Roma. He's got good players. I mean, some of them.
You really think so?
But Anto, just like Pellegrini, he had one good season. After that,
he got injured.
I get it, but I'm just saying there's just a lot of ifs in Roma.
There's a lot,
and if there's too many ifs, you can never have that concrete. We're gonna do this. You understand?
I think about Tammy Abraham a lot, and I think about a moment that could have changed everything for him, and it was the Europa League final, where he has the opportunity to score. And I played this out of my head, and it's kind of messed up. I don't know if anyone's ever thought about this. If he scores that goal, they get to Champions League, and they never have to play. Most likely, they win the game, they get to Champions League with the goal that he would have scored. He would never have to play that last game where he didn't get injured. And we would have looked at Tammy Abraham, you know, obviously healthy, scoring the winning goal to get to Champions League. It's those little moments that just define football. And when you think about that, it's actually absurd.
And to think about Lukaku too, the moment he had in the Champions League final, everything. Football's all about instances, and if you don't take those instances,
you know what? My final take on this thing is, Mike. Roma, it's 2 center defender away to challenge for at least a UEFA, or maybe
they should have got Bonucci.
Oh, you're saying a European
UEFA
spot, or
a European spot, or maybe the champion. Wait, the second half just started, Mike. They should already get to me 2 center defender away to do that. But
I also will push to this. I mean, Lazio's making an incredible comeback. We'll talk about them in a little while. We'll talk about them right after this. But for Roma, I still am not counting them out to get Champions League, because they have the route of Europa League, and they're also a team that's built for tournament style of play. And with 4th place, where it seems like it's a toss-up. Let's go to Lazio. I had another one, but we'll go to Lazio first. Lazio have completely turned things around in this past few months. There was talk in October after round 7, they sat in 16th place. Right now, Lazio, just a few months later,
6, I believe.
currently sit, let's just make sure we're completely updated with the last games. Lazio have 33 points, just 1 point away from Fiorentina in 4th place. A month ago, 2 months ago, Sarri was threatening to resign. They sat in 11th place. There was, where are we going to go? They have completely turned things around. And I think the stat that I love the most, that I think reflects it, is that in their last 5 games, they've won all of them. They have 9 goals, 8 different goal scorers.
And none Immobile. Immobile has been playing on and off, right?
No, yeah.
But my point is, like, they haven't been just reliant on one player. It's really been a team, which shows you that they've all bought into Sarri. You might not like him as a coach. We might not like some of the stuff that he says, but he's got the team that's behind him clearly.
Yeah, right now, I mean, I remember us talking about how, I remember when your dad was here, we're all talking about, sack him, he's going to leave anytime now. But see, that's how crazy football is. A couple of results here, a couple results here. It changes the trajectory of the whole season. Lazio are doing good. They're projected now. They're looking confident on track to go to Champions League, a top 4 team. But I think this reinforces the thing where it shows that Lazio and Sarri prefer to be playing 1 game a week. And that's why I feel like it's a big part of this. They were rocky when they were playing in Champions League, when they were having to juggle a few competitions a week. Now with 1 a week, he knows how to manage it better. That's just how he is as a coach. He's not changing. Can't teach new tricks, an old dog new tricks, whatever the case is. But they look good right now. And they also got they knocked out Roma from the Coppa Italia, which was a huge boost.
A game they didn't even want to play.
Exactly.
Sarri said before, we don't care about Coppa Italia, but we care about it because it's important to our fans. And they've also dominated Roma. Roma didn't score a goal in 9 halves since the Pellegrini free kick in March of 2021.
And Roma only had 1 shot on target. By the way, Provedel got a flu it got out, and there was a Greek keeper. I was really happy. He started in net.
87th minute, right?
And he made a fantastic save.
But they only had 1 shot in the 87th minute.
1 shot in the 87th minute, and he made a nice save.
For Roma, that's crazy.
But it goes to show what path Roma are on right now and what part of Lazio. Because a couple months ago, they were in similar paths, similar records, similar points. But now Lazio got a couple wins. They project them well. Then Roma got a few losses, which put them in opposite spectrums.
But this is what I'm saying. A couple wins here and
That's
there. Maybe,
it changes the whole season.
The fact that even Bologna and Fiorentina, they haven't capitalized on the fact that the last couple of games they haven't done.
Bologna haven't won their past, I think, 4 or 5 games.
But that's what I'm saying. Imagine if Bologna and Fiorentina, they would even, so it would have been much worse. But now, given that. They haven't done that well, so Lazio found themselves. Yeah, they found themselves on 5th place, and don't forget we have Atalanta too. And Atalanta, you don't discount Atalanta because they always over there. You never see them disappearing on the bottom. On the bottom half, it's always
there are other ones who they lost important players. Like Lookman's their top goal scorer.
Yeah,
you watch the contributions from other, like Cup Miners is playing amazing. Yeah. Finally, we
Another
know
goal
he did great, but he's really stepped up. Even CDK, the Catalare, scored a brilliant goal today when they won. What was it, 5-0 against Frosinone? He's getting involved in goals. He's getting involved in assists. And I know you guys are gonna laugh, but I read you the quote before that he said that he's only playing 70% so far. 30%. Sorry.
When that other 7, he's gonna turn into Messi onto another 70%. Oh,
you know the way I felt about him. I mean, I always had a soft spot for this guy here. I didn't want AC Milan to give up on him, but it is what it is. This is to show you the Pioli's quality of putting a player of that caliber and that talent on the right spot. It didn't work out. It was not capable to find a niche for this guy into the squad of AC Milan in order to be able
San
to.
San Siro's a different piazza.
I know.
Milan's different than Atalanta.
But some coaches are different than others.
Gasperini is a genius with young players.
He's known for that.
If you look at Atalanta, how many times have a player gone in Atalanta? They look amazing. They go somewhere else and they don't look as good.
Gagliardini,
but this is
Gosens.
You just said it. You took it out of my mouth. The Gasperini is the
right back
guy
that Milan ended up signing. The right back that was Conte.
Yeah,
he was injured too. But yeah, there's a lot of cases.
You can find a lot of guys that play great at Atalanta, and then all of a sudden they left.
Probably the only one that had some.
Kessie was good.
Marco, listen. Maldini is very smart. He doesn't go all out just to pick up a player just because he likes it. Or because he thinks it's good. The guy's good. So I do fault what's his name, Pioli. Him and his staff, they were not capable to get this guy comfortable enough.
There's too much pressure in Milan.
No, Mike.
also
There's pressure everywhere, Mike. There's pressure everywhere.
So there's the same amount of pressure at Atalanta
Oh,
and
not
Milan?
as much.
Okay,
But
so
listen,
there we go.
Maldini thought that this kid here was going to be able to handle the pressure. Oh, the guy plays on the national team in Belgium. He didn't play on a second division in Belgium. The guy played in one of the top teams in Belgium, and he scored a lot of goals. How come he comes to San Siro all of a sudden?
You can't compare. It's a different level, man.
Also,
I know.
We also have football fan, all of us. We have this thing that everybody's got to be immediately the best player in the world. All
that's
these
not how it
youngsters,
works.
everybody's got to be right away, boom, from the get-go, amazing. I remember even Vinicius Jr., who's one of the top players in the world. Watch what he did. He had the first half hat trick against Barcelona.
Supercopa, right?
Yeah, in the cup. The guy in the first year, we used to have Miguel, our friend, is Real Madrid fan. Oh, I can't stand Vini right away. It takes time also for players to develop. I know we don't like it. We're not patient, this and that. But environment also plays its part. And the Catalana is happy in Bergamo. And Atalanta is a team that we consistently downgrade. Like, we don't rate them high enough. They're one of the little big teams. They still feel kind of little, but they're not.
There's
and
a
they
gap.
always
There's
fight.
a gap with them.
The spirit that they have is brilliant. And again, the fact that they're getting goals from all different areas, except Scamacca, who's my big disappointment. And I was so frustrated. I didn't watch the game today. I had my niece's birthday. But I saw...
Priorities, man. What the hell?
I know. I should have watched Atalanta Frosinone. I missed their first birthday because of Peter's wedding. So I couldn't miss both. You said he didn't play well, though, right, Scamacca?
He wasn't... See, this is the thing with me. I think he started the season pretty well.
How did he do in this game?
He wasn't involved. He wasn't really involved. And it's strange
and they
because
scored 5 goals.
And it's strange, you know why? Because they're playing Gasperini's playing players that aren't strikers up top instead of Scamacca. So Scamacca's kind of been on and off in terms of if he's starting, if he's not. And a lot of times Atalanta play with 2 strikers, and he still doesn't manage to star, which is very frustrating for not just for Atalanta but for the Azzurri also. So there's a lot of but on the other hand, they're still managing scoring a bowl
No,
of
for
goals.
Atalanta it's good. I'm not discounting
I
that.
thought you have someone
For
like
me,
Muriel coming off the bench too.
Just
which is
disappointed
pretty
in
insane.
Scamacca.
Atalanta,
because
the city gone 6 or 7.
That's right.
6, I believe, right?
Everybody's extremely
Yeah,
tight at the
they're all
table.
6, I believe. 6 or 7.
At the moment, Atalanta is technically 5th, but they're, again, 1 point tied with Lazio, 1 point away from Fiorentina.
Okay, so
right
So
there.
everybody's
it's
right
5th
there.
or 6th. Okay, 5th.
It's getting heated.
So anyway, as I was saying with Enrico before we were discussing, we should have never give up on the Catalare. The Catalare should have stayed in AC Milan.
Next topic.
Yeah.
We just mentioned, I just mentioned Scamacca, so I thought about Italy. Did you see the news that
Yeah.
Italy is coming to United States? First time in 19 years.
The March, right?
It's not officially confirmed, but it's confirmed. We know it's going to happen.
We're going to go to Philadelphia.
Philadelphia
I hope, right?
and Miami. We got to go to both.
Oh, yeah? So
I'm
let's
going
go.
to both. I'm sure there's going to be events. We'll keep everybody updated when you can
I
buy
can hold your
tickets.
bag. I can do grocery shopping for you if you want.
We'll figure it
I'll
out.
walk your dog. Whatever I got to
It's
do.
gluten free. Make sure.
Gluten free. Okay.
Make sure you got the.
I don't follow
good
that.
stuff.
It's a
Oh, you don't
conspiracy
follow that?
theory. Nah,
Okay.
it's a myth.
Conspiracy theory. Mike, what do you say that?
No, it's a health. That's a health thing.
I was supposed to be gluten free for years. I never did it.
Yeah?
I'm fine.
Wow.
Maybe that's
You
what
should
the
go
way
to the
I am.
doctor.
I did. He's the one who told me. Anyway, for people that are interested, I can't wait. The news was there. For Italian Americans here in this country, it's crazy that we've had to wait so long for them to come. But it's going to happen. It's still not official. I saw a lot of people talking about it, so I'm very excited.
If I get the tickets for the game, I'll come.
We're going to go. The tickets are not on sale yet. Don't worry.
Okay.
We got a guy.
You'll be in the lineup.
We got a guy?
We got a guy. Uh-huh. Maybe
like
you
that.
could walk out with a player. If you could walk out with any player on Italy, who would it be?
Now you put me on the spot. Yeah.
Oh, this would
Who
be
do
so funny.
I would like to say hello to Donnarumma one time. even
Really?
though- yeah, still.
Give him a
To
couple
me?
dollars from your wallet.
No. And then let me see. I would say just Donnarumma for now.
That's who you want to walk out with?
Really?
Yeah.
Can you imagine the
Pass by
image of...
Calabria. Say something to him
No,
on the
Calabria's
bench.
not going to be
on
that
the
cold.
bench.
No, Calabria's not because.
Can you imagine the
I think I
scene of
called him.
him with all the little kids, but then there's Antonio? Would you actually do it, or would you be too embarrassed to do it?
No, absolutely.
Mark,
I
when
would
they
do
ask
it.
like everyone else's kid is like, why is he there too? What would you say?
They're like, oh, where's your kid? Like, right here?
Say, I never grew up, right?
That's what my wife says.
What's
says.
her
You
nickname
never
for
grew
you?
up. Huh?
What's her
your
nickname for
She
you?
used to call me Peter Pan or
We got other nicknames for you.
Oh my God.
That is nice. So I saw
She
your
used
boy.
to, she still called me Peter Pan. She used to call
Your
me.
boy Billy Costa Curta, he gave a quote that shook up the internet a little bit. He said that Hakan Çalhanoğlu is top 2 best midfielders in the world right now. He's second after Rodri. Obviously, clearly he means registas, defensive midfielders. I agree with this statement. I think he's right. Hakan doesn't get the love that he deserves in the rest of the world. He's changed his position. His tackles have been amazing. He's got great vision. His passing is brilliant. He scored a brace against Monza. He's the leader of this team, and he plays so many games in a row. He's missing like his first game because he got the yellow card
And
accumulation.
it doesn't miss penalties either, right?
He scored against you a penalty.
What do you think?
Listen, I don't like the guy. I mean,
But that's not the question.
Okay,
Is he-
He's one at the top. Yes, I would say top, not top 2, but I would say top 4. Top 4. I would say. De Bruyne. De Bruyne is.
But De Bruyne's not a defensive
I
midfielder.
saw him coming in the last time and he scored a beautiful goal. De
No, we're
Bruyne
talking
for me.
about defensive
Defensive
midfielders.
Regista.
Not a-
Regista.
No. We'll see. It's not top 2. Top 4 still.
Yeah, I think he's up there. I don't want to say like top 5 or top 10, but he's
Top
informed.
10.
No, I'm saying I don't want to give a number. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay, but is he top
Yeah.
2? Yes or no?
Top 2?
Is he 2? Is he 2?
No.
He's not 2? Come on.
No. Maybe 4 or 5.
Yeah, maybe 4.
Well, if I ask you guys to name 4 or 5 better, you guys are not going to come up with the names.
On the top of my head, there's so
Yeah.
many players out there. But regardless, he's
the
on
best.
form. He's doing incredible right now. You can't take anything away from him.
You're trying to say that is better than Dybala?
That's a
Dybala is not a defensive midfielder.
That's what I just in front of the defense.
Dybala can do
You're
everything.
teaching him Italian now?
Dybala can do
Say it in
everything.
Barres.
Dybala
Dybala can do anything. Who else we got to talk? Well, Inter won. Lautaro scored ridiculous 18 goals in 18 games. How does it
Lautaro's
make any
insane.
sense? The guy's just world class. Thuram, if you have to watch one image to learn who Thuram is, the way that he gave that back heel flick says everything about him. He's so unselfish. It's incredible. And Inter continue rolling. Obviously, Juventus played today, so we're not going to cover it. They're playing against Sassuolo, who they actually lost to in the last game, but
And
I see them doing well.
And speaking of Lautaro, we actually posted something on Twitter, a little Anto's favorite stat.
What was it?
Where
Oh, yeah.
Lautaro
UN stats.
has the 3rd best minute-to-goal ratio in Inter's history.
That's wild.
Only ahead of him right now is Bobo. We know Bobo. Ibra. We know Ibra. And then Lautaro right above his fellow countryman,
Where was Milito?
Icardi.
Where's Milito?
Milito's right under Icardi. So 131 minutes.
I'm going to say something. It's going to piss all the viewers off, and it's going to piss both of you guys off.
Excellent.
Why?
I think, and I'm guilty of this,
No.
I think we have a bias towards old players. We remember those moments
Yeah, of
as them
course.
being better than they ever were.
It's true.
Like, if you watch, Lautaro is unbelievable. Lautaro's unbelievable. Maybe those guys, they built history, they won, right? They
I'm
won
just going to be
trophies.
talking about Adley in 20 years like he's the Maradona.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, when we look back in time, we think that players were better than they were.
Yeah, 100%.
And we're like, nowadays, because I see this with myself, I'm like, they're not the
I
same
see
as
some
what it
old
was.
clips of like
But
Maradona or like old like incredible players, and I saw the mistakes they made. I was like, whoa, they could do that.
Exactly.
And I'm like, what
yes,
the hell?
if you watch a full game.
Yeah. You see small little mistakes. Like, wow, I didn't think
exactly.
you
I
could
watched
be able to do
I watched
that.
Milan Juventus 2003, and obviously Del Piero was my idol. And I saw him miss a pass, and I was like, "What's going on? This didn't happen." Like in my head, I got rid of all that, and I only remember the great goals that he
You
scored.
see, you guys are watching the game in terms of pass completed
And
pass,
stats.
all of these stupid stats. It's like you watch a bunch of numbers. Oh, he made another one. He passed it back. He connected 95%, 94.5%, 96.75%, and all that stuff. You should be so lucky to have even been around the stadium while Maradona was playing. Forget about watching the game. Maradona was a genius.
No, we're not
We're
discounting
not saying
that.
that. Anto. We're just saying he was human too.
Svechenko, Kaká, Gullit, Van Basten, Rijkaard. Come on, where?
Adley.
Well, Adley, just give him a Cassano,
Give him a couple more days.
Pirlo.
Let's-
Come on,
I'll give
Piero,
you
Totti.
more stats.
Okay.
One more stat. Napoli finally got their first win. They went 4 games without scoring a goal, 4 games without a win. They were on a negative trend. And I was honestly scared that it was going to continue because Salernitana went up in this game. Candreva just loves to score against the big teams. He scored against all of them.
What a goal.
It's ridiculous. Outside the box, 3 of his 5 goals in against the big teams have all been from outside of the box. He's been brilliant. He gets better with age. Then Napoli get a 96th minute winner. Obviously came with all the controversy from Salernitana. But it's now 3 games that Salernitana have conceded. They lost 4 points. Milan 2-2. Juventus, they conceded the goal too. And now Napoli.
I feel sorry for Super Pippo because it's, to me, I mean, the guy, he was
annoying. He was pissed.
Oh, I can tell. But, you know, I'm not sure they've been wronged against Salernitana. I mean, against Napoli, the Salernitana. But, you know what? You just have to just try to clear all of those controversies. That's what I'm saying. It's a team that I think has got the tools to stay on in Serie A. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they're gonna go down. I don't think they are.
No, that's a tough
They're
one.
not gonna go down.
You know who gives me hope?
That's a tough
Who gives me hope is that they brought
Empoli's gonna go
Sabatini back.
Yeah.
So he pulled off a miracle last time where he said there was a 7% chance. And I believe in that. Like, I'm a big believer in from the top down, it matters. Those are the types of things that you can't calculate from stats, just like to your point. And I'll bring up Giuntoli again, the calmness, the way that they're already planning for the future. They're getting Giallo, the defender. They're trying to get Samardzic. Those things, they were lacked for a long time because Juventus had a guy in place like Paratici who was not capable of being a number 1. Maybe he was a very good stat. Maybe he was very great with Giuseppe Marotta on his side, but he was not capable of making the decisions and having the personality and speaking with a lot of the team. And even with Juventus, he only came in, July? Like middle of July, end of July. So he didn't even get a full season. But those sort of aspects, I think, matter. And so I do believe in Salernitana. I'm with you. You don't?
It's not that I don't. It's just that bottom, like, Cagliari got a huge win. So that, shuffled the whole
against Bologna,
relegation zone. And it was like, whoa, you're thinking Cagliari were going to go down. Now they're out of the relegation. And you're like, the next team swaps down to Empoli goes down. And you're like, oh, God, what's going to... It's too soon to tell.
And now you can make that exact same argument, what I just said, for Ranieri and Cagliari, who understand just the little nuances of Serie A.
The guy.
They play very well, though.
You can't stand
Cagliari play well. They deserve that win.
Why can't you stand it?
I can't stand it because Bari was a minute, 15 seconds away.
They still got Pavoletti in their nightmares.
Yeah,
they still haunt you.
That's why,
Bari's not doing that good this season.
No, they're not doing bad, but they're not doing great either.
Good from far.
Far from good.
Yeah. So Napoli, thank God they won. Obviously, no Anguissa, no Osimhen. They've dealt with a lot of injuries throughout the entire year. Kvara, when are we gonna have the conversation about Kvaratskhelia?
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of rumors, around his agent just saying that Osimhen is not going to stay and all the stuff. So and this has created some sort of a storm within the locker room and within the personnel that is in charge of the Osimhen future. And it tells me that Osimhen doesn't have a long future with Napoli and Kvaratskhelia as well. Because you're starting with this thing here. A tiny little thing like this can just blow into something extremely big. I see Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia not being part of Napoli next year. I'm not saying that right now, right? For the
next year or this summer.
No, this summer. Yes.
I wish they made a statement. I wish Napoli made a statement in the Mercato and said, number 1, to get Samardzic, which they still could, but I wanted to make that statement. And also with Dragoshin, who I watched his first game with Tottenham, and I was watching with some Tottenham fans, and they have 2 center backs. So Dragoshin's kind of like a backup and a rotation guy. I wish Napoli, they have the financial means. They're the healthiest club in Italy. They won the Scudetto. I wish they would have just put their foot down and tried to get it, because that could have really kickstarted their season, especially considering some of the teams looking for 4th place and not that great.
They're focusing on TikTok too much this season.
That's right. That's right. I don't know.
But speaking of Osimhen and stuff, like I was saying, there was some trouble brewing. Kvarat's agent said that Osimhen was gonna leave this summer to go to Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And then Osimhen posted on social media, pretty much curse him out, saying, "Keep my name out of your mouth," or "You're not my agent," or "Don't say that stuff." So I don't know where that came from.
All stupid stuff.
But in other news, Lukman gave a nice assist to Osimhen in the African Cup of Nations. And they end up getting a point for the first.
It's not good though. For them, it's not good.
No, it's not good.
They're
but
one of the favorites.
I'm just saying for Serie A guys.
The writing is on the wall. Yeah. I mean, De Laurentiis just signed him, and they put a clause $150 million, 150 or 115 or one of those things for him to be bought out,
shipped out.
So that was the goal of ADL, because once you put you just secure the contract and the value of those players. Yeah, that's what he cares. Just you want to leave, go, goodbye. You think the guy is losing sleep or whether Osimhen is going to stay or whether he's going to leave? Not that he's signed. That's it. He can just.
Well, he better not lose sleep because they might not get Champions League. Let's talk about a team that is in Champions League, even despite a really poor game and poor result. Fiorentina. Let's end our podcast with that. Fiorentina were awful in the first half. Udinese were actually unlucky to not be up by 2-3 goals. Terracciano absolutely saved them. And I got to be honest, you guys know I love Italiano. I love the system. They were extremely frustrating to watch, especially the wingers. Icone and Brecolo, who do a whole lot of nothing. There's no production where I want to really see Beltran, and I feel like we're not able to see him because they were lacking a lot of creative players, even Mondragona behind him. And they keep trying to force this. And then look at the one moment Faraoni comes in, who just signed. The guy just came off of a plane from Verona. Puts one cross in, boom, Beltran scores.
That's the thing. We're talking about their strikers that haven't been scoring goals, but then you got to also look at not just the strikers, you got to look at the people that's supposed to provide them service, and those are not providing the service for the strikers for them to score. Yeah, you can say they scored in other means, not just in the striker position, but I feel like their wingers aren't doing a great job of sending good balls.
They're also similar. They all remind me, they're like the same player. Icone could do a couple of things that you're looking at him, you're like, oh my God, I watched him live. And he takes your breath away for a second. And then he just makes an awful decision. And you're like, all right, this is why he's not going to go to that next level. And Fiorentina are desperate for wingers. Without Nico Gonzalez, who's obviously their best player, along with Jack Bonaventura, I would say before the game, it was extremely disappointing because you're going up against an Udinese side that only has 2 wins on the season. They've not been great. But for the way that the game went, they get a point. They did not play well. They have rotation. They had Coppa Italia. Then they have to fly to Saudi Arabia to go for the Supercoppa Italiana. The congestion, and Fiorentina is not a team that invested so much money in the squad to have depth to compete in all the competition. So I think that it still is a very positive thing.
Hands down. Yeah. I think Fiorentina, they put a lot of more minutes into the field, and which Udinese didn't have because they're not playing in any competition other than Serie A. You have to discount that for them because, aside from Italiano system is a system that works. If you have the team healthy, the system is there. Okay? No, there might be 1 or 2 defender. I don't understand why Milinkovic is not starting the game. He's one of the best defenders that I have. He comes in 5 minutes, 10 minutes before the end of the game. Something must be going on over there. I don't know if it's a rumor to leave.
I'm not sure if he was fitness problems. I didn't follow it enough to know.
The bottom line is that Fiorentina is still up there on 4th place, even though they had a couple of missteps on the last couple of games. But
they knocked out Bologna.
That's right.
In the Coppa Italia.
Yeah.
They go to the semifinals for 3 times in a row, which is a ridiculous
But they've been playing
achievement.
A lot of competition, Marcus. You have to give it to them. So
and I've seen.
I'll cut them a little, a little slack.
The growth that I've seen from them is that they could also win games this year dirty. Yeah. And when I say dirty, let me clarify.
Scrapping.
Not playing the best football.
Like against Bologna.
Yes. You don't have to play great, but they're getting results. And they have a lot of 1-0 results in them, which is a good thing. They've been better defensively. Obviously, they're not perfect. They're not a team that's invested in the squad to compete in all these competitions, yet they're getting those achievements. And when they could get everybody back, even Artur and Jack Bonaventura, they've not been playing at 100%. Dodo is still out. You add up, we talk about injuries for all these teams. Roma can't play without their guys. Napoli can't play without their guys. They have better benches than what Fiorentina have because they spent a lot more money. Yet Fiorentina are right there getting the results.
It's strange because the way Fiorentina are right now, they're pretty high up in the table. But then you see, like I was really closely watching the Coppa Italia match. Bologna shot themselves in the foot, and they couldn't score any of the chances.
Second half they played much better.
And then all of a sudden, Fiorentina just have that mentality. They grind it out, just like Marco was saying. They know how to win when even they're not supposed to, you could say. And
that's a sign of a good team, though.
And that really projects them. That and if say on a different day they went out there, and then on a different day they didn't get the equalize versus Udinese, then there's some question marks. Like we were saying before, there's some instances in football that could change the course of the career for the whole team just by a goal here or holding on or defending.
And it's not a fluke. It's not a fluke.
Definitely not a fluke.
It's not. It's a difficult period.
Yeah.
They've had to adapt. They've had to adjust.
It's
and for
interesting,
me,
for sure.
they've done it to an incredible level.
Yeah.
Look,
doing good.
To me, the body language of a coach and the energy that the coach transmits from the sideline, it's underrated. Italiano, if you look at it, it's never sitting. It's always talking to the player, not yelling. It's always talking.
So now let me push back on this. What about Ancelotti? Best manager maybe of all time.
Yeah, but
he's not somebody that loses his mind on the sideline.
Silent.
No, well, but look what, for example, Mourinho, he gets
Okay,
crazy.
but no, use my example. Don't change it.
Ancelotti, listen. First of all,
You know what?
He chews his gum, he puts his little
He's
eyebrow up, and
quiet.
boom, he's good.
He's quiet.
He's
He's
not losing
silent.
his mind like
Ancelotti,
Conte.
Ancelotti's got a squad which is prime
A
ribs.
real estate.
Prime rib. Italiano, you just said it.
But you're going up against your argument, though. You're saying for a coach, the body language is important.
No, it's the energy that he transmits into the game and the players.
At
The
Everton, he was
Italiano is
doing
very
good.
intense. He said, come on, guys.
But
come
at
on."
Everton, I thought he was doing
He
good.
motivates his players to the top. He makes his player playing to the top. Way over there. They just go over their expectation of what the finesse.
But we're agreeing on that. My point is, it's hard to put a blanket statement on saying, because a coach is there, I definitely, body language is important, and I'm not saying everyone's got to go out there rah, rah, rah. For example, I'll give you a perfect example. Gianpiero Ventura, a coach that we obviously don't love. I was sitting behind him when Italy was losing to Sweden in the playoff match, right? The first game. Right when we missed the chance, Belotti had a header. If everybody remembers this, we had a header, boom. Don't know how we don't score it. Ventura kicks a bottle, throws his hands up. He's saying, of course, it's always going to happen. When you have that kind of body language, I definitely agree. It transmits to the squad. But it's not that every coach has got to be there and be pumping them up on the sideline.
True. Yeah.
Yes and no. I don't agree with you.
Okay.
I don't agree with you.
Fair enough.
To me,
we'll ask the people.
Yeah, definitely, guys. If you see a coach that is technically asleep, it's like a ghost or a zombie, on the bench side, you're not gonna get much out of it. So I don't wanna. You see, Pioli can be something a little bit more intense. So Pioli, if you're listening to me, I want you to be a little bit more intense.
I don't think that reciprocates the performances, Anto.
It does. It does makes a big difference. I want him to be more intense. I want him to motivate the player a little bit more. Pioli is been helped by Ibrahimovic. I'm not sure what was the main reasons. Cardinale, why do you bring Ibrahimovic in if he's not going to be sitting on the bench? Ibrahimovic goes inside of the locker room before. Do you need Ibrahimovic to motivate the player? Why is Pioli not good enough for motivating the player? Okay, did you try to
Conversation
get the
for
argument?
another time.
What?
Conversation for another time.
Okay.
We gotta go. Guys, also, speaking about that, big shout out to everyone in Toronto who showed up to the pickup match. Michelangelo and Adamo held it down. So many people showed up. So many Serie A fans. People looking for you, Antonio. If anyone in the New York area wants, let us know. We might hold a pickup game. Toronto always shows up. So let's see if New York, we could do the same. As always, guys, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Ciao,
Forza
ragazzi.
Milan.
Anto, you'd come to the pickup games?
Absolutely.
What
I'm
would
the
you wear?
superstar.
There we go.
I'm the superstar.
Nice